Overall, they played their brand of baseball for the entire nation to watch, and I think more and more people are starting to catch on that this Rays team is for real. As we welcome you back, 2:30 on your ride home on this beautiful Feel Good Friday, The Drive with yours truly, Tom Krasnicki. Taking your phone calls, 888-388-0957. Text at 82945. Eric Neander will join me in 30 minutes. I got a lot of questions for him because now that the Rays are on this run, it appears as if they are for real. We know we're a ways away from the trade deadline, but they're about to get some other pieces back. You know, Gavin Lux is a guy that hopefully the Rays are trying to get back. Mark Topkin just tweeted a couple of minutes ago that Mason Englert is back from the IL, and Chase Selesky was optioned back to Durham. So Mason Englert is probably going to play a big role in tonight's game. By the way, tonight, Rays, Red Sox, game 2 of that 4-game set. Of course, you can listen to the action right here on WDAE, beginning with Ronnie Lane and Suicide Squeeze at 6 o'clock, or whatever that show is called, to get you set for Rays baseball tonight. Jesse Schultens will go for the Rays against Connolly Early, another lefty on the mound for the Red Sox. Ronnie will be with me at 5 o'clock for the happy hour. We got the mailbag at 5:30. By the way, if you're looking to win some money, $1,000 could be yours. You just heard the nationwide keyword, and we do this. We're going to do this, I think, 3 more times before we sign off at 6 o'clock this afternoon. $1,000 could be yours. The keyword is rich. So go on to 957wda.com. You insert the keyword there, and you'll be in the running. You can't win if you don't play. You can win $1,000. We have another opportunity in the 3 o'clock hour, and then in 4 o'clock hour, and the 5 o'clock hour. We got 3 more chances for you to win $1,000 this afternoon, each and every hour, by tuning into the drive. This is what we do for you. And how do you pay us back? You send us some of these idiotic comments on a text platform, on social media. The SMMs were out in full force, and we'll get into the mailbag a little bit later on here on the program. So, Rays are getting a lot of national love. Ken Rosenthal had a story in The Athletic about home sweet home, the Rays being back at Tropicana Field, which really suits them. And we talked about this throughout spring training. Tropicana Field, because it's a pitcher's park, I think is more conducive to the Rays' skill set and where their strengths lie. Run preservation, not necessarily run accumulation. Pitching, defense, 70% of the game. And the Trop is not a hitter's park. And I think the Rays have really played well there. Extremely well, in fact. You know what the results look like. And last night, to kick off this road trip, they scored 8 runs in more of a hitter-friendly park. And hopefully tonight, with another lefty on the mound, the Rays can do the same. So if this continues, could the Rays, come trade deadline time, augment their roster, not subtract from it? Joe Sherman, MLB Insider, was on the MLB Network, and he said, watch out for the Rays.
I think they've got to add a bat, and they're very sneaky. When they've had a shot to get big guys, they at least try. If Yordan Alvarez gets out in the market, if Byron Buxton gets out in the market, someone like that, I think they're going to be aggressive.
Really interesting. So he thinks the Rays could be fishing for a big bat. For as long as I've known Eric Neander, he knows one thing, and we've already seen it this season. Pitching, 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 baby. I think if the Rays make a move by the deadline, look, it's way too early to kind of speculate on May the 8th who may or may not be available. Way too early. By the time you get into late July after the All-Star break, that's when some teams will fall out of contention and they will make certain players available. The other thing you have to keep in mind is this. You know, we might be headed for a work stoppage after the season. So that will absolutely be a factor in some moves that get made or don't get made by the trade deadline. And the new owners obviously are very busy. They've got their hands full with trying to secure the new Rays Forever home. And, I know Patrick Zalupski was at the game last night up at Fenway along with Ken Babby. And they're talking about, hey, June the 1st, we have to have this non-binding memorandum of understanding. We need to get this done. And if it's a little after June the 1st, that's okay, as long as it gets done on June the 1st or shortly thereafter. And usually when there's deadlines spur deals. So that's where their main focus of attention is at. And they're leaving everything up to Eric Neander. And we'll talk to Eric Neander about this when he joins us just after 3 o'clock. Now, if Eric Neander has a hot deal brewing for a guy that makes some money, yes, he would have to consult with his bosses to make sure it would be okay. But look, the Rays are at an $89 million payroll. There's a lot of interest in this team right now. The ratings, I can tell you, on the radio for the games that are on right here on the flagship station of the Rays, WDAE, they're off the charts. Same thing on the TV side. So there's a lot of interest right now in this baseball team. There has always been really good ratings on the radio and TV side when it comes to the Rays. So I would think that if there's a deal to be had, that these new owners would say, you know what? We got a lot of momentum. And if they get that new stadium deal done by then, they're like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's see if we can bring in a big bat. But here's what I do know about Eric. And between now and August the 3rd, the trade deadline, there's so much that can happen. There are a lot of variables to consider. So it's really too early to speculate who may or may not be available. But in general terms, I can tell you that Eric Neander, if you gave him a choice, would you rather import a bat or an arm? He's going to say arms all day, every day. So I know Joe Sherman was talking about a bat, and that could very well happen. The Rays right now are excelling in the pitching department, but just like in football with the Buccaneers, what they just did, and we'll talk about the Bucs in a matter of moments, you can never have enough pass rushers. You signed Al-Quadin Muhammad, you drafted Ruben Bain, you got Yaya Diaby on the other side. They appear to be set, but you never know if there's another guy that comes across Jason Light's radar. He will likely pursue it, although they keep talking up David Walker, and we'll get into the Bucs in a matter of moments. But the bottom line, in football, you can never have enough pass rushers. In baseball, you can never have enough pitching. And that's what Eric Neander always believes in. And keep an eye on starting pitching help when it comes to the deadline. I know we're a long ways away from that. But I do have a couple of names. Guys that I've been watching and reading about. I've circled a couple of names. I'm not at liberty to let you know what those names are. But I do have... No, Jack Mayhofer is not one of them. But
Slapdick prospects?
They are not slapdick prospects. Blake Snell, and it's not you either. Blake Snell, no.
None ya.
And if I ask Eric Neander, that's exactly what he would say. None ya. Who are you interested in? None ya. It's May the 8th, for crying out loud. And you think I'm going to tell you? I think it's too early in the game to speculate, but I can tell you that Eric Neander and that front office, it's never too early for them to send scouts out to different games and areas of the country to start the exploration process. And because the Rays are doing as well as they're doing now, don't put it past the Rays to at least start some preliminary exploratory options, shall we say. And I know they mentioned on the MLB Network, maybe the Rays can get a bat. I think the Rays will always be on the lookout for another arm. Somebody to help the bullpen or somebody to help the starting rotation who can eat up innings. Someone preferably with at least another year of team control. And I have a name or two in mind that I'm not going to mention because it's too early. It's a little early in the game. And like the Rays, I'm doing some exploratory kind of research as well. 888-388-0957. Text at 82945. You got to love what the Rays are doing right now. Tonight, game 2 of their 4-game set. Ronnie Lane with Beanball coming up at 6 o'clock. But before that, he will join me for the happy hour, which begins at 5 o'clock. Mailbag 5:30. And don't forget Eric Neander at 3:05, right at the top of the hour. All right, your calls and texts are on the way. It is a Football Friday. When we come back, Buccaneer rookie mini camp getting underway. All eyes are on one particular player. And news from the NFL about a schedule release, too. That is next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
If you're just getting in your car, happy Friday. Be careful. Gosh, every day I'm driving into work, I see these near accidents, these close calls because these people, they're not using their signal when they change lanes, especially on the highway. If you get hit by one of these maniacs, do what I did. Call Catania and Catania, the personal injury law firm that's been doing their thing for the last 30 years. They don't get paid unless you get paid. They've been getting a lot of money for their clients. Almost $1 billion has been recovered by my guys over the years. They did a great job with my case. They can do the same for you. So give them a call. Tell them I sent you. Get a free evaluation of your case now at 813-222-8545 or online, CataniaandCatania.com, where they put families first. Office Tampa, 930 spokesman.
95.7